Hi, my name's Colin, and this is Colin Talks Crypto. This is the fourth episode in the series of moving to Puerto Rico to take advantage of 0% capital gains on my cryptocurrency trades. And now that I've been here for about 3 months, I'm making this video as a follow-up and a statement of, do I feel like it's worth it? And most importantly, how much money does one need to have in cryptocurrency or other assets in order to even make it worth the move? Thank you for joining me. And here we are in Dorado, Puerto Rico, a very fitting setting for this video, all about moving to Puerto Rico from the States to take advantage of Act 22, which is going to be renamed Act 60 in 2020, just by the way. And the purpose for moving here, if you haven't followed my previous videos, is to achieve 0% taxes on capital gains on cryptocurrency trades. And that is what Puerto Rico offers as an incentive for moving here. Let's get on to some important topics of money here. So obviously we're moving here to make money, or more accurately, to save money from being taken from us in the form of taxation. And it can be as high as 20 to 40% in the States for crypto trades, which is completely inhibitive of any kind of investing, trading, any of that. And I want to take this moment to just mention that this is not financial advice. This is not trading advice. I am not your advisor. Please seek your own professional financial guidance, because that is not what this video is. This is just my story as someone who has actually taken the plunge and moved to Puerto Rico, and what I've experienced and what I'm looking at and how I'm making decisions. So having done this and having moved here and having applied for the various Act 22 programs, and doing everything from getting a driver's license to getting a lease on a home and getting utilities set up, I can now speak somewhat intelligibly as someone who lives here, what it's like in Puerto Rico and how much it's going to cost to make it worth the move. Now, everyone's situation financially is different, and I can't speak for everyone. So again, I'm speaking for myself. But for me personally, I would not move down here if the act of moving down here saved me less than $150,000 per year. It wouldn't be worth the lifestyle change, because as I've said in previous videos, you do lose certain amenities and certain eases of life and certain ways of living that are you might take for granted in the States that you don't have down here. One thing is the driving in the roads. It's quite crazy to drive here. Drivers make up their own rules. They really do not follow the law. They'll run red lights. They'll not stop at stop signs. They'll cut you off. They won't use blinkers. They'll use blinkers when they shouldn't. They'll go way too fast, way too slow. There's no fast lane. There's no slow lane. It's really just a free-for-all on the roads. So that's a thing that's, I think, a step down from the States. Not to mention, cars will have on a dozen super bright LED lights that blind you as you're driving into oncoming traffic, because there's no regulations, or at least they're not being followed, in terms of brightness of headlamps and how many headlamps you can have on your car. It sounds silly, but wait till you get blinded by a semi-truck with 15 lights blasting you in the face, the full brightness equivalent of the sun. Not a fun sight, literally. And that's just the visual. Now, how about the audio? Cars here, there's no noise regulation or sound regulation. Cars will strap on gigantic stadium-sized speakers on the back of their trucks for God knows what reason, and they blast out Puerto Rican or other music out the back of their trucks, and they drive around like this. And it is sometimes so deafening that you can't even talk to the person across from you in a restaurant, because the music outside is utterly infiltrating the entire room. And again, I don't think that that's even legal in the States, but here it's not uncommon to have that going on. So again, that's just another example of the differences just in terms of driving from the States to here. Oddly enough, after being here for a couple months, I've adapted. And honestly, I don't consider them as crazy of drivers anymore. And I was looking at it a few weeks ago going, did I change or did they change? Because I don't feel like it's as crazy here anymore. And I think that I just adapted to the driving style here, and I got more patient, more calm, and understanding that the way here is not the same as in the States. So it's not the end of the world, actually. I feel fairly comfortable here. If I had a choice though, I would absolutely choose the States. It is far better there. And I was having dinner with Mike Maloney last night, actually, and he said something that was so true, kind of in a joke, but it's truth in a joke. And every time we get maybe frustrated by some of the inconveniences or the slownesses of life here in Puerto Rico, or the driving conditions, or the extra long lines for certain government activities, we just think to ourselves, 0% for Act 22. And 0%, 0%. Tell yourself that, almost like chant it to yourself, for the reason that you're putting up with this sometimes less efficient way of living. And I thought that was kind of funny. It's very true. It's very true. So again, I wouldn't move here personally for any less than a savings of $150,000 per year. And that to me would be probably like having a crypto portfolio of at least $500,000. That would make it just barely worthwhile. And obviously the more the better. If you have more than $1 million in crypto or these assets that get qualified at 0% taxes for capital gains, then I would say it's absolutely worthwhile. You're looking at this as an option because the lifestyle is fairly good. If USA is a 10, maybe it's like an 8 here or a 7 here. But it's good enough that the 0% more than makes up for some of the inefficiencies. But again, you have to have enough stake. You have to have enough asset to benefit from when it comes to the taxes to make this trip worth it. And so, traveling here was expensive. Like, I think we spent $6,000 buying a giant moving trailer to move our house goods down here. And that's not going to be everyone's situation. You may not need a trailer, but it's very expensive. If you want to ship your furniture and household items on a boat across the ocean to Puerto Rico, it can be done. And you can do your car that way too, but it's quite expensive. So it was $6,000 to ship the household goods, and I think it was another $1,000 or more to ship my car across. And the headache of receiving the car was I'm just going to be honest, an utter nightmare. It was a multi-day, full-day process of going back and forth between multiple buildings in the city, getting stamps here, which is just another tax, getting a paper here, not being able to speak Spanish to these guys, having to have a translator, going back to another building. It was just utterly, literally a nightmare. And I did pull it off. Actually, the same experience for getting my driver's license. I had to wait in line. You probably saw my tweet on this. I had to wait at 5 a.m. in the morning, and it took until noon to get it. I had no sleep. And finally, I got my driver's license. All that for a driver's license. Now, I did learn that afterwards you can pay people to do this for you, and I would definitely have done that had I known. I think it's like $150 and someone will take care of all that for you. And to me, having been through that experience, that would be definitely worth it. Again, these are examples of the inefficiencies that you're paying for. Nothing's a free lunch here. You have that inefficiency, but then you get 0% on your crypto capital gains taxes. So it's a trade-off. It really, really is. If you had, let's say, $500,000 worth of cryptocurrency or a stock or some asset that you're moving here to get 0% on, that's when you can start doing the math. So let's see, 20% would be $100,000. So normally you'd be paying $100,000 if you were to sell that all, right? Or trade that full amount in a given year. And so that's a big savings. That's why I say have at least $500,000 or more in cryptocurrency so that you save at least, actually I'm going to put it up to $150,000 savings, because to me, saving $100,000 a year is not worth the whole lifestyle change. You have to keep in mind, this is an entire uprooting of your life. All the conveniences you had, your family, your friends, your local area back in the States, you're not there anymore. And yes, you can go back for half the year, so that's the perk. But you're giving that up for half the year. So to move here for $50,000 a year, to me, is not worth it because I'm giving up so much. And there's also a lot of costs. So it's not just that you're saving that $50,000 a year, it's that the costs of applying to various regulations and policies here are very expensive. For example, so for Act 22, which is what we're talking about here, saving money on crypto capital tax gains, you have to be, first of all, very careful about this application. So when I got here, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to pay someone $1,200 or $2,000 to file my Act 22 application to get the 0% of my crypto trades. I'll do it myself because I can read, I can do this. I had a translator on Google Browser. I submitted the Act 22 application myself, and I did fine. However, I was missing something very important. And I learned this through much research, like hours and hours of research and talking to various CPA firms. And they don't all give you the same answer. So honestly, what I found is you just pay for the best. I'm going to be paying between $5,000 and $10,000 to get my application submitted properly with the right verbiage, because the Act 22 application, as it has been submitted, does not specifically include cryptocurrencies. And I really have some concern for those who have gotten an Act 22 decree from the government, but they don't have the exact wording for including cryptocurrencies specifically in that binding agreement. And I have heard of edge case scenarios where a person gets disapproved for their cryptocurrency holdings because they had some stupid wording in their application. And later down the road, you don't know it, but because you think you have this decree covering you, but actually you're going to get your cryptocurrencies disqualified because of something that you wrote in your application. So I personally recommend a company, this is the one I'm using now after having gone through 3, Grant Thornton, a CPA firm in San Juan in Puerto Rico. They speak very good English, they're very timely, they're very responsive, and they have a lot of knowledge. And this is where they have guided me with exact precision on exact wordings and exactly the steps that I need to take with my Act 22 decree to make sure that I am eligible for 0% of my crypto tax gains. Because the worst possible scenario would be that I spent my entire year moving here, relocating, getting set up, disconnecting from all the family, all the conveniences, and then 2 years down the road, have this decree in my hand, having plunked 50 G's into all the applications and all the filings and all my time, just to find out that I'm disqualified for my crypto. That would be the worst case nightmare scenario. And so I'm a big believer in you pay for what you get. Just go big or go home, buy the best help. Grant Thornton helped me. They're not cheap, but I'm gonna be sleeping good at night knowing that I'm covered legally with my decision because I paid for the best help and I know that I'm in good hands. So that's my advice, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm going with very good legal assistance. I really strongly advise to be very careful with the Act 22 decree. And this became more apparent because the new version of the Act 22 decree, which starts in 2020, has some changes to it. But one of the good changes is that it specifically includes cryptocurrency. And so if you want to go safe, you can go with that application. However, it then doubles the annual charitable contribution from $5,000 to $10,000. It also necessitates that you buy a property within 2 years, which I probably will anyways, but I don't want to be forced into buying anything when I'm not ready. So there's some pros and cons to Act 60. So please see a professional CPA and get this done right. So that's it on the money side of things. $500,000 of assets that are going to benefit and $150,000 of savings of benefit at the end of every tax year, to me, is a minimum requirement for even beginning to think about uprooting one's life and moving here. So I've been here for about 3 months now, and we've checked out a couple places around the island. I still haven't visited all the places, so I definitely could be missing other ideal places to live. And actually, recently, I took a trip to Rincon to visit a friend, and I really like it there. And in fact, I think I like it more than Dorado for various reasons. First of which is that they're primarily English speaking as a first language. It's more common to run into someone speaking English there than Spanish. It's quite the reverse of the rest of the island from what I've seen. Even in Dorado, which is very welcoming to English, it's still very common to have Spanish be the first language and then switch over to English. It was actually the reverse in Rincon. So anyways, I'm looking at that as a future place to live, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous there with the beaches surrounding the whole Rincon city and great surfing waves. I actually surfed down there. That was my first time surfing ever. Had a blast, and it's a lot harder than it looks to surf. I have a lot of respect for surfers. They have built up a lot of strength in their upper body and their back and everywhere. So a lot of respect and a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun surfing. So I'm looking at that as a future option to move to. One of the main drawbacks is that it's very far away from San Juan. It's about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive away from San Juan, depending on traffic. They do have their own airport nearby though, so it's a matter of whether you need to be near a major city or not. I'm not so much of a city life person. I don't look for that kind of lifestyle. I like things a little more laid back, a little more calm, a little more relaxed, a little more chill. And so for me, Dorado is very good, but Rincon actually looks a little better. And again, I'm still exploring, so there's a lot more of the island I need to check out. So based on that discovery, because I thought Dorado was it prior to that, I now had my eyes open to the possibility that there are even better places to live. And so before committing on purchasing a home, I'm going to continue taking vacations to various places on the island and make sure that I really move myself and relocate to my final destination of a place that I feel is the best pick, because it's not where I first set myself out. So in summary, it's very worthwhile. I'm very happy I moved here. I don't want to move back. And next year I get to travel a bunch with my half a year of travel days. So actually it's pretty great. And you can see that it's just beautiful here. It's like this all the time. and you might get a 15-minute shower, and then it's back to beautiful blue skies. So all in all, a net positive. It's pros and cons, but it's a net positive. And I'm already meeting friends here. I've met a friend from Rincon, I've met a friend from Culebra. There's islands around here that are beautiful. We're just still exploring and getting used to the place. But Culebra's got beautiful snorkeling and beaches. We're gonna see Vieques in a couple months, which is another island off the coast of Puerto Rico. Like I said, Rincon is absolutely gorgeous and a very fun town, surf town. And Dorado is a very safe and clean place. This is where we are right here, Dorado. And San Juan, Condado, Isla Verde, these are the more central city-like living environments. And so if you enjoy the city life, there are very nice places in those areas that you can live as well. And so there's really something for everyone. I think that's the takeaway here. No matter who you are, if you have a family, if you have kids, if you're single, if you just have you and your girlfriend, you and your wife, there's something for everyone. You can bring your family down here. There are family communities. There are gated areas that are very safe. I'm in one of them, and there's another one nearby. There's these gated and double gated communities that have many families all within them, and they speak English quite a bit as well. So it's a good setup, I think, in Dorado. I think that has a lot for everyone. There's also a very wealthy and rich part of Dorado. If you have a lot of money, you can go to East Dorado Beach East, and that is where multi-millionaires, decamillionaires, billionaires will live, because that's where the money is, and that's where the beaches are, and that's where the resort is. And it's gorgeous there. It's absolutely gorgeous. And that's actually where Peter Schiff lives, is in East Dorado Beach. And I was thinking that that's where I'd like to end up until I discovered Rincon, and now I'm not sure. I'm kind of torn between the future being East Dorado Beach or Rincon, which is also absolutely beautiful, or somewhere else that I haven't discovered yet. So there's a lot of crypto people here if you go looking. It's a nice tight-knit community, and I expect it to only get more so, as the benefits of Act 22 are just so enticing and such a great deal. So I hope this helped you make your decision about whether or not it's worth it to come here, because the last thing in the world I'd want to see is someone who has just a small amount of cryptocurrency thinking that they need to make a lifestyle change, when maybe that's not really the best decision based on their particular financial situation. So like if you only have $20,000 worth of crypto, it's probably, in my opinion, not a good idea to move down here. It's not going to be a big savings, and honestly, your costs are going to far, far outweigh the benefits for many, many, many years until you finally turn a positive profit after all those initial costs, because the initial costs are quite high. I would say, if I had to put a figure on how much I spent moving here, just a lump sum, including everything, I would say $20,000 to $30,000. That's kind of just a ballpark off the top of my head, but be prepared to sink $20,000 or $30,000 just to move and get situated and get your stuff here and apply for the Act 22 and all that. So there's a figure for you to think with. Okay guys, have a great day. I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you for watching, and I love you all.